Welcome on into another week here of Sports Memo Today, where we get you actionable information in 30 minutes or less. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and happy Pi Day out there to you, and happy March Madness as well. If you're like me, well, your bracket is probably already busted. And yes, I know no games have tipped off, but I don't think I've ever won a bracket pool, and I've probably been doing them since before I could even write. And my dad was just filling them in for me so we could get some extra in pools. So, yeah, happy that March Madness is here. Not only do we have the NCAA, we also have the NIT. And savvy bettors might know that NIT is almost just as profitable, if not more so, than NCAA, because sometimes these recreational bettors will forget or just not want to be placing as much money on it, because if it's not on their TV, a lot of times recreational money doesn't want to be on it. So we got some actionable info for you in not only NCAA action, but NIT as well. The Iceman Jesse Schule going to kick us off this week, talk a little NIT and NCAA long shot futures. This guy is addicted to the plus money, and he's hit plenty of it right here live for you on Sports Memo Today. And then we're going to head on from the hardwood to the pitch. Pavlos Laguretos is going to shut some things down for us here on the show, talk a little Europa League soccer action as well as MLS action. Two sports Pavlos is running in hot right now. We have a great deal for you coming as well, so you have to stay tuned for that. But now you know what's coming this week. Happy Tuesday to you, and let's get things going with my man, Jesse Schule, right here at the top. I was getting you guys hungry, doing a little bit of Martha Stewart cooking class before we started the show here, was telling you about some gyros that I threw down for our Greek friend, Pavlos Laguretos. But Jesse, I know you know your way around a barbecue pit, but you also know your way around the odds board, because things have been running hot for you, brother. How's it been, Jesse?
It's going not bad. I'm really excited about the first round of the tournament. I don't know if you knew this, Dan, but I swept the board going 8-0 in the first round last year in the NCAA tournament. So I've got some big shoes to fill, and I will let you know that I wasn't betting the underdogs in the first round last year, which is contrary to popular opinion.
Yeah, sometimes we do got to lay a little bit, but hey, like we've told you before, the only time you're paying that juice is when the play doesn't get home. You can check out Jesse Schule right now, sm.buzz/JS. Well, you might not only be betting dogs, but you do love giving out free plus money plays that have been hitting with regularity here on Sports Memo Today. So let's start in the big dance, because that's what's on the top of mind for most people. And this is a play that I know our friend Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas is going to love you making a case for her Kansas State Wildcats. What are we thinking? They can win the whole kit and caboodle, or are you just trying to ISO in maybe on their corner of the bracket?
Dan, I don't know if you've recently gone and looked at the list of NCAA tournament winners, but it's pretty daunting if you're trying to pick underdogs, because if you look at the long list, it's a long list of Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Virginia. There's no mid-majors on there. There's no really big underdogs in there. In fact, I went through the entire list. I had to go back to 1966 to see Texas Western, which is now known as UTEP, and that's the last time that a team that wasn't expected to win actually won. So, and that's 10 years before I was born. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not taking the Wildcats of Kansas State to win it all. I'm just taking them to get out of the East region, and the reason for that is I think this East region of all the regions is up for grabs. I mean, some of the other number one seeds look almost unbeatable, but Purdue at just 3-1 to win the East region does not look unbeatable to me. They had some hiccups down the stretch. And then you got a Marquette team that was pretty good out of the Big East, but they struggled on the road during the regular season, got most of their big wins at home. Tennessee, great team defensively, but sometimes they run into trouble on offense and struggle to score. And, you got Duke and Kentucky, off years for both those schools. And you got Kansas State coming in with a 23-9 overall record, 11-7 in the Big 12, which, of course, was the best conference in the country this year. Kansas State plays with the big boys. They got wins over Kansas, TCU, Baylor, West Virginia, and Texas. There's no reason why they can't come out of this East region, and I'll take the 10-1 odds on them to do just that.
You love to hear it. K-State Wildcats getting out of the East. And I will say, just from running down the bracket this year, yes, probably there's going to be some crazy underdog story that ends up winning it all just because recent history would dictate, or even not so recent history would dictate that's going to, be a little bit tougher to get home. I will say this year, Jesse, before we talk a little NIT, seems like there's not many teams that are worlds above everyone. I feel like this year, more than anything, it's going to be about who's playing hot, who's being able to hit their shots. I think defensive teams, especially early in the tournament, might have a little bit of a leg up. But just when you look at these top seeds, does anyone stand out to you as, oh my goodness, look at how easy their path is? Because to me, nobody's jumping off the page. I think there could be some potential upsets brewing just because there's no big stalwarts this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's wide open. There's so many good teams too. You look at that Big 12 conference, and you got teams like West Virginia at the bottom of the standings, still making it into the tournament. And any of those Big 12 teams can compete with anybody on any given day. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough to predict a winner. One thing that I did have a look at before this show was the 12 versus 5 seeds. Everybody has those pegged as the big, upset watch, 12 seed versus 5 seed. But 3 of the 4 5 seeds, or 3 of the 4 12 seeds, are paying less than 2-1 on the money line. So even if one or two of those teams, there's no value there betting on the 12 seeds this year.
I will say, if you forced me to say, hey, who's your 12-5 upset, I wouldn't be shocked if VCU gets the outright win over St. Mary's. So there's a little potential free play from your host here, looking at VCU at least towards the points against St. Mary's. I think Gonzaga may have put the stamp of, hey, here's how to kind of slow this team down, and VCU at least has the defense to do it. All right. They're not here to get my thoughts on the NCAA. I already told you my bracket's already busted, and we haven't even had a tip. Let's swing it on over to NIT, and you do have an outright winner, and I love the case you have to be made for this one. What are we eyeing?
I like Vanderbilt. I like the way they played at the end of the season. They had won 10 of 11 games heading into the SEC semifinal against Texas A&M. They beat Kentucky twice during that span. They beat Tennessee. They beat Auburn. And I think Vanderbilt, unlike other teams, is going to be excited about playing in the NIT. We've already seen North Carolina decline the invitation to the NIT. Some of these bubble teams that feel like they got snubbed, perhaps a little less excited to be playing in the NIT. But for Vanderbilt, I think they were well aware that they had to win the SEC conference tournament to get into the big dance. They didn't do that. Now they're in the NIT. They finished the season strong. They've got a chance to win a lesser tournament, and I think they might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things you have to try and handicap in the NIT is who's excited to be there, who's saying, oh my goodness, this isn't even close to what we were hoping before the season started. So love that handicapping angle. And also Vandy, they can get hot. Why not? With the price that you can get on them at that 25-1, you can shop around, maybe even get something a little bit better. So Jesse, we've talked all this much, and I haven't even mentioned what you've been doing on the ice. 15-5, 75% with some of these plays, and you have a game of the week in the NHL that you have up right now for $2 Tuesday. What else do they find over at your page, brother?
Well, I will have 8 first-round plays for the NCAA tournament. Got big shoes to fill. Like I said, I swept the board, went 8-0 in the first round last year, so I'm not guaranteeing that I can do that again, but I'm certainly going to give it my best shot.
As he always does. That's the Iceman, Jesse Schule. And not only can you get his play for just $2, how about Matt Josephs, one of the best college basketball handicappers in the game? He's got a $2 play loaded. And also Teddy Covers with an 86% run in the NBA. He is looking at the LA New Orleans game tonight, and he's got a big ticket play in that. Why pay $2 individually for all of them when you can pay $5 and get all of those plays? Also, my man Carmine Bianco over at Wager Talk, he is your $2 Tuesday handicapper, and he's got a 5% play locked and loaded in the NHL. Mentioning Carmine, You can see him Tuesdays and Thursdays with my man holding it down in Greece, Pavlos Laguretos. Don't care who wins, but actually, some of these games, at least one of them, we do care who wins. We'll talk about that one in just a few. sm.buzz/PL is where you can find Pavlos Laguretos. And Pavlos, how we been, brother?
Really nice. Won my 5% last week in the Champions League. Doing a really fine job in the MLS as well. I do have a free play for the MLS, which is a look-ahead spot on Saturday. And I have some plays for the Europa League, which takes place on Thursday. There's a lot of small teams there that are looking to damage somebody. There's a lot of action, a lot of advantage, a lot of value to be taking advantage, and that's what we do. I scoured those little leagues and I found the value.
That is what we do indeed. So let's talk a little Europa League. As you mentioned, this one going on Thursday. We got Bayer Leverkusen, and they're taking on Ferencvaros. And you even told me how to pronounce it beforehand. And I was all confident, Pavlos. You knew I had to butcher it here. What are we eyeing in this one? This might be one of the Pavlos specials. Don't care who wins. How are we betting this one?
This is indeed one of the Pavlo specials. Both teams to score. Don't care who wins, guys. This is a very tricky match. Bayer Leverkusen, I've been tracking them all season long. Their defense is just horrible. I just have to say they won the first leg by 2-0, which was their only clean sheet in their last 10 matches. So I had both teams to score in the first match. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't really happy by what I saw. But Leverkusen, they won by 2-0. Now they have to defend that league in the second leg in Hungary. And Ferencvaros, some people might have not even heard of that team, but let me tell you, they're a very solid team. They've won 4 Hungarian titles in a row. They're on their way for their 5th title in a row. So they're dominating that domestic league of theirs. They've scored in 18 of 19 home matches in all competitions this season. Yes, granted, they play in the obscure, League of Hungary, but they're comfortably sitting at the top. They're 11 points above their chasers, and they're most likely going to win another title. They've also been really good at home in the Europa League as well. They have 3 wins and 1 draw in 4 home matches, so they still haven't lost. And they've played against teams who are just as good as Leverkusen. All 4 home matches in the Europa League had both teams to score. In fact, 8 of their 9 home matches in all competitions had both teams to score. So Ferencvaros, you know that they're going to score, but their defense is just not that strong. Now, Leverkusen, again, I have to just mention that their defense is really bad. They've kept just 1 clean sheet in 17 away matches in all competitions this season. They conceded 2+ goals in 11 of 17 away matches. And they didn't even keep a single clean sheet in 4 away matches in the Champions and Europa League this season. So Ferencvaros, they know that they're going to have to attack. They're 2 goals down. They need to score at least a couple of them in order to have a fighting chance for the qualification. I do see them scoring. To be honest, I'm more concerned of Leverkusen not scoring on this one. But I think this is one of the easiest matches to predict on Thursday. Give me both teams to score. Don't care who wins at -140.
Both teams to score, one of Pavlos' favorite plays to make. And if you ride with Pavlos, sm.buzz/PL, you're going to see some of these more down-the-card plays, prop plays. Loves diving deep into these games, using his handicap to find some better prices than, just laying money line bets or, laying totals and things like that. Also, the yellow card specialist. I don't know if I've ever seen someone handicap yellow cards like Pavlos Laguretos can. So, hey, man, let's swing on over stateside here. We'll go from Europa League to the MLS. This one going Saturday. And I don't know, Eric, our producer behind the scenes, get ready to mute him because apparently he wants to make a case for Montreal against Philadelphia. My Philadelphia Union. All right, Pavlos, floor is yours. Why are we fading the Union?
Okay, if the Union weren't playing, they're actually playing tonight in the CONCACAF Champions League, and there's, those midweek matches, they're really tricky even for the best of sides, even, the big European sides, they always get distracted by these midweek fixtures. Now, they played last week on the road. The result was a goalless draw in the first leg. Now, the second leg takes place again later tonight, and Philadelphia Union, they need to win because they're playing in the Champions League. The MLS season is still very early, still 3 matches in. Whatever wrong happens now, they can surely make it right later in the season. While the Champions League, it's here, it's now. If they lose this one, they're not gonna move through to the quarterfinals. So it's a huge deal for them to move to the quarterfinals, and there's bound to be some added fatigue to the squad. Now, Montreal, oh God, this Montreal side, they've made a horrible start in the season. They've lost all 3 matches, didn't score a single goal in any of the 3 matches, and however, all 3 matches were on the road, and now they're just making their home debut of the season. Now, weird thing though, Montreal had by far the best away record in the entire MLS last season. They've grabbed 35 of their total 65 points on the road, so they had more points on the road. They were more successful on the road than they were at home. They did a really solid run in the playoffs. They went on to beat Inter Miami and Orlando City. They got mauled by New York City in the Eastern Conference semifinals, so it was an overall really good, successful campaign. So you would think that they would want to, build on that solid season. And however, what Montreal did in the offseason was astounding, at least to me. They destroyed their entire team. They sold off Kone, Mihailovic, Johnston, Torres, and Kei Kamara, their most creative players. Those players accounted for 27 goals and 27 assists combined last season. So they've only brought 3 players. 2 of them are defenders. One of them is an unproven striker. So they did have the second, highest income in the entire MLS because they sold off so many players and they got good money out of it. However, their team is in shambles right now, and there's a big however here. I'm making the wrong statements about Montreal. However, they're under a lot of pressure right now. They're playing the first home match of the season against a Philadelphia side that, again, they're playing midweek match in the CONCACAF Champions League, and there's gotta be some distraction, some extra fatigue. And, Montreal, even though they got some very few additions in the roster in this offseason, they still have Romel Kyoto, who is a very capable, reliable, and proven striker in this league. And they got a couple of, speedsters, like youngsters, 19, 20 years old. So I believe, and again, against, a popular belief, this is a contrarian bet. I'm going to take Montreal on the pick'em line against Philadelphia Union on Saturday at -130.
All right, I'll allow it. The handicap was strong enough to win me over there. Montreal pick 'em -130, and Pavlos, you give 2 free plays to the folks because that's just what you do when you're rocking a beard like Zeus. But what are we eyeing? Because if people head on over to your page, there's the free plays, sure, but incredible deal that was extended through midnight. So you want to get on this now because it is going away. And this, at least here early in 2023, this is the best soccer deal that I've seen at Wager Talk or at Sports Memo. It's ST200. Takes $200 off your 90-day soccer all access, usually $4.99. That's going to knock you all the way down to $2.99. Pavlos, you just gave 2 different leagues, one stateside, one the Europa League. You're handicapping darn near all of them, correct? So that's a hefty amount of action people can get from you for just $2.99.
Yeah, that's an excellent deal because you got all these big leagues like the top 5 in Europe. You got Champions League, Europa League, and Europa Conference League. Then we have the national break where we're gonna have matches between the international sides like Argentina versus USA and stuff like that. And then we have MLS, of course, just started. We're doing a really good job in the MLS so far. So this 90-day deal will give you. It's essentially an all access. We'll give you all soccer plays from it's really literally close to 10 leagues, and I give out like 2-3 plays per day, so there's a lot of value there. So for tonight, I have a 5% Champions League play on the sides. I'm the top winning handicapper at SportsMemo since the soccer season started. With 5% releases, 33 and 15. I'm first in units made, in percentage, winning percentage, and the ROI. So I have a 5% going later tonight. I think it's going to be an easy winner. I have a best bet for Thursday in the Europa League. And of course, I'm going to load my MLS plays later today.
Pavlos Laguretos, and even with the loquacious breakdowns we get from my man Pavlos, we still get you that actionable information in 30 minutes or less. That's our promise to you every Tuesday and Thursday. That is going to wrap it for us. If you enjoy what we do, just hop below in those comments. Let us know what you're betting on. Who's your long shot to win the NCAA or the NIT tournament? Let us know below, and make sure you throw us a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of the great shows at Sports Memo TV or at Wager Talk TV. That does it. Big thanks to Jesse Schule. Big thanks to Pavlos Laguretos. Big thanks to Eric doing a terrific job behind the scenes. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and we'll see you Thursday right here on Sports Memo Today.